So the United States is actually a very divided nation. The red and blue states, the divide is very palpable. You can tell by the screens of Selma versus Sniper. Now, I had wrote some things about Sniper. I am not a fan of war. I do not like the war. You have a military-industrial complex. And someone goes, what's your beef with Kyle? Like, I got a personal beef with Kyle. Kyle was a psychotic patriot. He did what we asked him to do. And, you know, that's why we should take care of them when we come back. I believe that. There was mental illness. When you go around killing people, he didn't care that he killed people. That's more of a psycho than someone who killed someone and felt bad about it. And there's another sniper that actually told his story, his true story. And he said that he just eventually couldn't do it anymore. And the fact that he killed, I don't know, over 200 or so, you know, he's just killing them over and over again. Did he get all the bad guys? Was it all a bunch of bad people that he was murdering? In the very beginning of the movie, he shoots a kid. And the movie was shown as, like, you know, the kid was picking up a big old rocket launcher, right? Just because that's what 4-year-olds do, right? They pick up a big old rocket launcher. And so, you know, he had to do it, right? He had to kill the kids. Chris Kyle also went to New Orleans, and he shot 30 of the so-called, you know, looters, right? So New Orleans, you got a big hurricane. Their houses are underneath water. They have no food. They got no clothes. Were they looting? I don't know. But if they were, Chris Kyle's killing them, right? That's what you do in an emergency when it comes to a bunch of Americans who need some help. You go there and you send in the snipers and you shoot them. So Chris Kyle says that he killed 30 people in New Orleans. Now, that's disturbing either way you look at it. Either he's lying, which is what you hope, right? If this is your man and you love Chris Kyle, you hope he's lying. But if he's telling the truth, he went and murdered American people. He also said he killed somebody, like some argument or something, so he's still killing people here. So Chris Hedges wrote this quote. I wanted to read this quote because I think it's beautiful. It's absolutely just dripping with deliciousness. Chris Hedges is one of my favorite people of like all time. And so he's kind of pointing out it was a propaganda film, clearly propaganda, you know, go USA, and that's fine. Love your country. But it's not love it or leave it. You clean your house because you love it. You don't just say, well, it's dirty and disgusting. I'm not going to clean it. You got to love it no matter what, no matter how dirty it is. That's insanity. That's crazy. That doesn't make any sense. So Chris Hedges, I mean, the war, it does seem like we're an empire. So how do you stop the war? How do you stop the war? If man doesn't stop war, war will stop. We'll put it into mankind. It's a undaunting task. And actually, Barack Obama says if you want to change something, you got to do it yourself. That's the only things are going to be changed. So Chris Hedges, he says the culture of war banishes the capacity for pity. It glorifies self-sacrifice and death. It sees pain, ritual humiliation, and violence as part of initiation into manhood. Brutal hazing, as Kyle noted in his book, was an integral part of becoming a Navy SEAL. Navy SEALs would be held down and choked by their senior members of the platoon until they passed out. The culture of war idealizes only the warrior. It belittles those who do not exhibit the warrior's manly virtues. It places a premium on obedience and loyalty. It punishes those who engage in independent thought and demands total conformity. It elevates cruelty and killing to a virtue. This culture, once it infects wider society, destroys all that makes the heights of human civilization and democracy possible. The capacity for empathy, the cultivation of wisdom and understanding, the tolerance and respect for difference, and even love are ruthlessly crushed. The innate barbarity that war and violence breed is justified by a saccharine sentimentality about the nation, the flag, and a perverted Christianity that blesses its armed crusaders. This sentimentality, as Baldwin wrote, masks a terrifying numbness. It fosters an unchecked narcissism. Facts and historical truths, when they do not fit into the mythic vision of the nation and the tribe, are discarded. Dissent becomes treason. All opponents are godless and subhuman. American Sniper caters to a deep sickness rippling through our society. It holds up the dangerous belief that we can recover our equilibrium and our lost glory by embracing an American fascism. We have no rite of passage. Shia LaBeouf, he got raped. And people are like, what? Men can get raped? Yeah. They could be drunk. They could be, and then what? Because you poked at it a couple times and you was able to get him, turned on, that means you're allowed to go ahead and just rape? No, you cannot rape him. And he was raped. And he says that he saw a lot of problems. He saw that the rite of passage. You have bar mitzvahs in the Jewish religion. There's lots of rites of passages for manhood and quinceañeras for Mexican folks. When you turn 15, you become a woman, you become a man. And so the quinceañera is to initiate you into your adulthood. And that's a big moment. That's a big thing. Shia LaBeouf thinks that we don't have rite of passages. We don't have any sort of rituals for when our boys become men so we can go off to war and get our heads blown off. Because that's a true man, right? That's a real man. Someone who's got a gun, someone who kills a bunch of savages, kills a bunch of kids in Iraq. That's a real man. You use violence. You're tough. You're strong. You're obedient. You're loyal. You go around hurting people. Violence. This is the manhood. These are the men that we want. These are the men. There's nothing wrong with being strong. I mean, if you could get the same exact kind of man who actually cares about justice, because if that's the threshold of a man, that means, Chris Payne, who I like a lot, Chris Payne, he says, he says that, I don't know, he says a lot of really cool stuff. But he's got a quote where he says, no excuses. You get no excuses. I don't want to hear no excuses. So if you're a Palestinian just being murdered by Netanyahu, they're cutting the grass, just killing a whole bunch of people, right? Just a routine military devastation of a region to put them in their place, to crush them. No excuses. So if there's no excuses, what should a Palestinian do if they look at Chris Kyle and they look at the sniper movie and their definition of what a man is? What should a Palestinian do when they're being bombarded and killed, and their mothers and their fathers and their sons and daughters and grandparents and cousins and every person that they know is just being killed? They should be like Chris Kyle, right? They should love Palestine so much. They should be loyal to them. They should have military strength. They should go around sniping as many people as they can. That would be the definition of manhood. I don't hate the idea of strength. I don't hate that. Because being strong doesn't mean you have to hit somebody. That's a fascist. That's a fascist. So I'm going to read this one more time just because I loved it so much. This is just what war teaches us. And it's just not war for the soldiers, but it's also war for people here at home. And, if some people were totally gung-ho about killing 1.5 million people in Iraq. So those people who supported it and think it's the greatest thing in the world, they're going to, defend the barbarity too. 9/11, that's the reason Iraq happened? No, it isn't. So Chris Hedges, he says, the culture of war banishes the capacity for pity. It glorifies self-sacrifice and death. It sees pain, ritual humiliation, and violence as part of an initiation into manhood. Brutal hazing, as Kyle noted in his book, was an integral part of becoming a Navy SEAL. New SEALs would be held down and choked by senior members of the platoon until they passed out. The culture of war idealizes only the warrior. It belittles those who do not exhibit the warrior's manly virtues. It places a premium on obedience and loyalty. It punishes those who engage in independent thought and demands total conformity. It elevates cruelty and killing to a virtue. This culture, once it infects wider society, destroys all that makes the heights of human civilization and democracy possible. The capacity for empathy, the cultivation of wisdom and understanding, the tolerance and respect for difference, and even love are ruthlessly crushed. The innate barbarity that war and violence breed is justified by a saccharine sentimentality about the nation, the flag, and a perverted Christianity that blesses its armed crusaders. This sentimentality, as Baldwin wrote, masks a terrifying numbness. It fosters an unchecked narcissism. Facts and historical truths, when they do not fit into the mythic vision of the nation and the tribe, are discarded. Dissent becomes treason. All opponents are godless and subhuman. American sniper caters to a deep sickness rippling through our society. It holds up the dangerous belief that we can recover our equilibrium and our lost glory by embracing an American fascism. An unchecked narcissism, terrifying numbness. Love is crushed. Cultivation of wisdom and understanding, tolerance and respect for differences. The innate barbarity that war and violence breed is justified by a saccharine sentimentality about the nation. Killing ragheads for Jesus. And then they said that the real sniper story, I should memorize his name because every time I know Chris Kyle's going to come back up. But he said that when he had issues about killing people that hadn't done anything to him, the medical personnel just said that, well, just God is on our side, if that helps. God is on our side, so what you're doing is right, and they're bad people and you're the good, and just accept that. And then when he came back to the United States, he wants to talk about his experiences, at the VA. But when he came back at the VA, again, they still didn't care. They said, we don't want to talk about the politics. Well, my healing involves me talking about the politics of it. This is Vietnam. We were sent to go kill people over lies. And we're still at war today, 14 years later. It's the longest war we've ever been in. We got this kind of money to spend. 900 military bases in 153 countries. We got that much. It's ridiculous. It's too much. And we're bad. We're not very good policemen. We're not very good at being the world's policemen. Rwanda genocide, Sudanese genocide, Syria, that was in a total mess. I don't know what was going on with that. But now we got ISIS, right? They came up out of that. So we were financing them, and then all of a sudden they turned their guns back on us. How many times are we going to do this? Saddam Hussein, we gave him weapons. Osama bin Laden, we created Osama bin Laden to fight the Russians. Ronald Reagan. So maybe playing war games, being violent psychopaths and killing people, maybe that's the reason 9/11 happened. Maybe that's the reason. Maybe the Palestinian genocide. Maybe the military bases in Mecca and Medina. So, if they're pissed off at us killing them, seems to be a justified anger.